Hello everyone, this is Jenna reading A History of U.S., Volume C by Joy Hakim. Chapter 11, More About Immigrants. The immigrants knew the Declaration of Independence well. It was part of what inspired them to come to America. Most of them knew these words by heart. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Many Americans whose families had been here longer knew those words too, and believed them and lived by them. But people were being people, and there were some who were selfish, or confused, or ignorant, and they ignored that message of fairness. Some Americans didn't want newcomers in the country, and this may surprise you. Some of the newcomers, as soon as they got settled, didn't want any more immigrants to come. Usually the newest immigrants were poor and willing to work hard and for less money than those who had arrived earlier. So some people wanted to stop immigration because they feared competition for jobs. There were other reasons. Because the newcomers were poor and couldn't speak the language, they needed extra help in school, and that cost money. Taxpayers' money. The cities were where many newcomers lived, where many newcomers lived were overcrowded and filled with crime. So there was a need for extra police and extra city services, and that cost even more taxpayer money. Some people said, why should we have to pay for the problems of those poor people? They didn't stop to think that the newcomers were often doing jobs no one else wanted to do, washing dishes or digging ditches or building railroads. They could not foresee that the sons and daughters of poor immigrants would become some of the most productive citizens any country has ever known. This nation of ours was still young and had a lot of growing up to do. And growing up means making mistakes and learning. Americans made some big mistakes. There was one mistake that was hateful, hurtful, awful. It was the mistake of prejudice. Some Americans faced discrimination, sometimes vicious discrimination, because they were Catholic, Jewish, African American, Irish, or Asian. One group of prejudiced people actually formed a political party. Officially, it was named the American Party, but most people called it the Know-Nothings Party. The Know-Nothings were anti-Catholic and anti-foreign. They even managed to destroy a stone block sent from Rome by the Pope. It was intended as part of the Washington Monument. This picture down here shows immigrant children at the Mott Street Industrial School in New York City stand to salute the flag. And over here is in 1890, Jacob Riis photographed these workers making neckties in a workshop in New York City. Another group of haters, the Ku Klux Klan, was anti-black and anti-Semitic, which means they hated Jewish people. On the West Coast, the Workingmen's Party had its slogan, "The Chinese must go." Its members hated Asians. Between 1849, when gold was discovered in California, and 1882, about 300,000 Chinese emigrated to America. In 1882, there was just over 50 million people in the United States, so 300,000 was a small percentage of the total. That didn't matter to the haters. Like many other immigrants, the Chinese were coming to the United States to make money. American workers wanted high wages to work in the fields or build railroads. Some employers discovered that Chinese men were willing to work for just $1 a day. Now that doesn't sound like much, and it wasn't, but in China, times were hard. You had to work several days to earn as much as $1, when you could find a job. If a Chinese man came to America and saved $500, he could go home and be prosperous. If he saved $1,000, he would be very rich when he went home. Some Chinese did just that, but many found life difficult in America. So the Chinese, too, began asking for more than $1 a day. Then some employers sent boats to Japan and got Japanese workers to come and work for low wages. When the Japanese started asking for more money, the employers sent boats to India. Some said that the employers were exploiting the workers, taking advantage of them. But the process worked both ways. When the Asians took their earnings and went home, they were exploiting the land of opportunity. Many immigrants to the East Coast did that too. They came, worked hard, saved money, and went back to Greece or Italy or Poland, where their American earnings made them seem rich. It was all right. America had opportunities to share. Besides, most took more than money back to their old worlds. They took American ideas with them too. Ideas of individual dignity, of liberty, and of a government founded to help people pursue happiness. Almost everyone understood these ideals, and they understood that although there were haters and bad apples around, most people were good. So people from China kept coming to the land they called the Golden Mountain as long as they could. The Chinese came from an ancient, proud civilization. A Chinese philosopher named Confucius, one who lived from 551 to 479 BCE, taught ideas about honesty, fairness, and loyalty that were similar to the ideas most Americans believed in. He also taught about the need for balance in life, between work and pleasure, between consideration for oneself and consideration for others. This led the Chinese to respect learning, especially the study of the past and its lessons, and to have strong family ties. Now you might think that they would be welcome when they arrived in California, especially since they were seeking opportunity, which meant jobs. The same reason brought others to California too. But in the 1860s and 70s, when times were difficult in China, it happened that they were difficult in the United States too. There was a depression, and during depressions there usually aren't enough jobs to go around. Since the Chinese were willing to work hard for very low wages, they usually found work. This angered many white working men. Mobs attacked and killed Chinese people. Hoodlums burned Chinese homes and laundries. Over here, it says that the Ku Klux Klan began in Pulaski, Tennessee, as a social club for Civil War veterans. It soon changed its focus. The KKK became dedicated to the idea of white supremacy. White-robed Klansmen, riding out at night, used terror tactics to intimidate blacks and whites who believed in Reconstruction. This photo says that during the California Gold Rush, many Chinese immigrants came to the United States. And over here is an animation. A drawing from the 1880s shows Chinese immigrants working at a salmon cannery in Oregon. In economic terms, a depression is a time when the nation's economy goes into drastic decline and there is much unemployment, low prices, and not much business activity. The Working Men's Party demanded a law to end Chinese immigration. Congressmen in the East needed political support from Californians helped pass the law. Most Americans on the East Coast didn't know any Chinese. They had heard terrible and untrue stories of Asians, and many people believed the stories because they just didn't know any better. Most Chinese men braided their hair into a long pigtail. That seemed strange to people who weren't Chinese. Prejudice against those who look different from you is racism. Racism is found in almost every nation in the world, and it always leads to evil action. In 1882, American racists got the Chinese Exclusion Act passed. It stopped most Chinese immigration into the United States. It was an especially unfair act, considering that it came after Chinese had toiled and died to build railroads and dug mines and labored on farms. Asian immigration was restricted until the 1950s. This picture says that in 1877, workers in San Francisco demonstrate against Chinese workers who were willing to work for low wages. And this image shows little boys in San Francisco's Chinatown walk in single file, holding each other's pigtails, which in 1900 was the traditional way of wearing hair for Chinese boys and men. Over here it says, one good idea, one bad. Have you ever had two ideas at the same time? One good and one not so good? Well, nations are no different from people. The idea that all men are created equal was fighting it out with the idea that some people called nativism and others called racism. In the 1880s, some people were saying this was a nation where everyone was welcome and would be treated equally. Others, such as nativists in California, were burning Chinese homes and businesses and attacking Chinese people. Actually, racism has a nasty history in nations all around the world, not just America. And that's it, folks, for Chapter 11, Volume C, History of U.S. Have a good day!